9.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The best ideas are free with Ben Young from Bwaggy.com.
BWAGY.com. Ben, hello and welcome back into the Kiwi studio.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. Today we're talking about private-public partnerships.
Yeah.
In what context?
So, as usual, when I come into the radio, I always want to talk about a few ideas that have been bugging me.
Yeah.
And in Auckland, there's been a lot of conversation around the casino proposing a new conference centre.
That's right.
So it's a big public-private partnership. They're asking for some leniency on some laws. And
they're wanting some laws changed, yeah.
And they want to get their licence secured to a set date.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to comment on the specifics of that deal because I haven't looked at it properly yet.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk about the idea of private-public partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
And that reality is any Kiwi, if you can kind of come up with an idea, you can take it to your local public office and present it as a business proposal, as something to do. Like, for example, if there's a piece of infrastructure which you're dying to have or you think is a must-have,
yeah,
the reality is local government is constrained by certain budgets, and if it hasn't been done yet, there's probably a reason. So if you can find out that reason, and if it happens to be financing, then you could start to put together a business proposal of how you or a group of local people could get together, raise some money, whether it's from investors or from the bank, and actually make this thing happen. Because
governments like people coming to them with a solution, right?
Well, if you go back to their difficulty is they've got a constrained budget. They need to get most out of it. And especially in Auckland, John Banks said, I think it was about a year and a half ago, that over the next 20 years, for us to keep our infrastructure up to world standard, or get it up to world standard, I think we need $1.5 billion invested a year.
Yeah.
And he said the government can only get funding for half of that. So I think the reality is we're going to see a lot more of these public-private partnerships. And I thought, well, you know, we're Kiwis, right? We come up with creative ideas to problems. So I just wanted to put it out there. If you do have a bit of an idea of how to solve one of these problems, just go for it. Like, for example, the city to airport rail link.
Yeah.
It is on the priority list, but it's not near the top. So it keeps juggling. A few years ago, it was 8 years away. And last time I checked, a year ago, it was 30 years away, just because the funding has ebbs and flows and there's only so much you can do. Or, for example, there's always lots of discussion about getting a tram loop around the city. They've started off by putting a small tram loop down in the tank farm. If you'd like to get that extended, why not figure out how much it costs and see if you can raise the money for it?
Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised at how often the public will get behind you.
Right.
And if you can get a mix of public and private financing, you'll work quite well. And then if you can get the local government to sign on as a customer, then you've got a bit of a winner on your hands.
Okay, cool, all right. Topic number 2.
So I just wanted to talk about smartphones, and I've touched on it before, but I've just been thinking about the paradigm that increasingly everyone on the street is walking around with a smartphone in their pocket, which has internet access.
Yep.
And also has reasonable computing power.
Yeah.
Some of these smartphones, well, actually the majority of them, are more powerful than computers were 10 years ago.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So what can you do by harnessing, that paradigm, the fact that everyone has this much computing power? And so I started jotting down all the little things that you can do. Like, for example, someone's just released something so you can unlock your house. So your smartphone will talk to the lock in your door.
If it was some type of magnetic type lock,
Yeah. So that would work, especially when you're fumbling with your keys in the rain and
or in the rain trying to touch your touch screen, not working because it's all wet. Yeah.
I admit to have done that before.
Yeah.
There's another one which is a bit controversial. It's track your kids.
Oh yeah.
So basically, it creates a link between the two phones, and it just shares over the internet the GPS location.
You can use Google Latitude. For that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's tons of options with that. There are other uses for that. For example, when you're driving to pick someone up, it's just easy to share your location, especially in the city where traffic, again, has its ebbs and flows.
Yeah, they don't have to go, where are you? Well, they can see exactly where
Yeah, I'm stuck around the corner, right?
Yeah.
So that'll make that a little bit easier. You can do the basics, watch movies, communicate, social networking, pictures, games. You can transact business. You can do your banking and pay your bills. I've actually become a big user of online banking on my phone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just because it's just handy, it's there.
Yeah,
and you're not in front of
handy.
your
I don't
computer.
need to, open up the computer to use
What bank you with?
Kiwi Bank.
And so they've got a good mobile
Yeah,
site.
good online site.
Be good if they all these banks came up with their own specific apps.
Yeah, I think some of them do. There are always certain issues around security and data with apps, so that's why I think some of them have more of a mobile interface.
Yeah, with a HTTPS. Yeah.
You can organise your groceries. You can't buy them yet, but I'm sure someone's working on that just to get your...
It's annoying that a lot of the grocery apps come from the States, and they have a built-in inventory that are connected to barcodes, but the barcodes don't relate. So here in New Zealand, so you'll scan something, and most often it's not in there. So it'd be great if someone came up with a local inventory.
That'd be real cool.
Yeah.
You can't yet, but you can on some cars. You can diagnose your car if there's something wrong and schedule a service. So you can do that in Europe. I'm not sure if it's here yet. There's another one. You can measure your blood pressure. So you buy this piece of hardware which plugs into your iPhone and it'll measure your blood pressure for you.
Cool.
It's quite interesting. A baby monitor.
Yep.
I can see parents loving that. A guitar tuner.
I've seen musicians come into the studio and use the iPhone.
That's
for
incredible.
that.
Someone told me about it 2 weeks ago. These are just ideas. When you look at them, you're like, that's so cool. But if you kind of stand back and think, what are all the problems or issues this market has in their daily life, and how would having computing power with them solve it?
Yeah.
Like, tons of uses there. And the good old spirit level. So there's just a bit of a spirit level.
Yeah,
on a
some
lot of
people
phones.
use that as well. Yeah.
I've seen more people use a spirit level on an iPhone than I have an actual spirit
Really?
level. And I've worked on building sites.
Yeah, it's because the convenience. Suddenly, as you say, all that power is there.
It turns us all into builders.
Yeah, indeed. Hey, very cool. Some great ideas. Cool. Yeah. Waggy.com, BWAGY.com, also on Twitter as well. Ben, we'll see you next week. Cool.